Live from the City of Angels, Sunday morning, midnight movie money, and we have another bomb. It's happening week after week at the multiplex. These films are not firing as intended, and Tron ARES is the latest to go down in flames. This thing ran into the wall. Okay, this is a $33.5 million debut against a $180 million budget. So this is going to lose Disney their ass. This is going to be a hugely expensive film. It's under Morbius. It's also under the last Tron. And when you look at that last Tron in 2010 and you do 2025 numbers, it's stronger. So this is even weaker. Does that make sense to you? Right? The dollar has been devalued so that this number is even less impressive than it would be if we were talking about 2010 money. So this is another issue. And listen, it's not just about Tron here today going down. It's about movies not becoming as big as they were in the past. And there are so many reasons why. We have to discuss it again tonight. But in a snapshot, listen, a lot of folks are hurting financially. They do not have the expendable cash to go out and see these things. So they're going to be very choosy about what they venture out to the movie theater to see. And they said no to Tron, which is really a niche thing. You go back to the 82 version, 2010. They said, hey, maybe we can get something together here with 3D and 9 Inch Nails. And it just didn't work. I mean, the movie is not great. I think visually it works, and certainly that score from Reznor Ross. But it just didn't get people excited. They were not, as we like to say here at MMT, cinematically erect. And you can see it here in the result. Even THR is saying what I'm saying here. Tron hits the skids. I don't want to have any debates with people like, give it time. You're not being fair. There is no one in this space who is more objective than MMT. We're the gold standard. How many times do I have to reiterate that to you? So this is absolutely, objectively disastrous. Let's go to the Disney email and get the latest, and we can go ahead and hit that. Here's the thing that's going on, right? You're looking at a film that came in with all the PLF screens. What does that mean? Premium large format, IMAX, Dolby. It had 4DX. It had everything to its advantage. And the issue is that, again, it's still couldn't get people interested in going to see Tron. Here it is. We have the domestic weekend at 33.5 million. Overseas, only 27 million. So it didn't even pick up there in the international markets. It's under the domestic for a total of 60.5 million. And you look at the breakdown of how people went to see this movie. And I think this is troubling because they really wanted you to see this thing in 3D, and you can see here that 2D was 69% of the tickets sold. So that wasn't as big as they were hoping for. 3D, 31%. You look at IMAX, 12%, IMAX 3D, 9%. But again, even the push towards the format that they want you to see, and I think it's the best way to see Tron. If you're interested, you want to see this in 3D. It looks better. I've seen it twice, only for the visuals. And you definitely want the 3D upcharge. Take it. But it just, listen, we're talking about 33.5 million. We're not talking about anything beyond this being a bomb. Male, 68%, female, 32%. And I think one of the issues this film had is even Gen Xers really didn't care. 45 to 54, 17% of the audience. That's not big enough. Gen X right there. And the young kids, I mean, listen, let's also talk about this. Young kids are not going to the movies anymore. They don't care. There's a tweet going around how some professor or teacher said, hey, kids, what about one battle after another? And no one in the class knew what it was. Why is that surprising? Of course they don't know what that is. They probably don't know who Paul Thomas Anderson is. And Tron is a franchise from the past. The young kids are like, I don't care about Tron. Jared Leto, again, under the microscope. Is he the issue? I don't think it's Leto. I think it's part of it. It's just the fact that nobody asked for another Tron film. Even with Nine Inch Nails scoring it and the visuals that are there, people just did not care. And you can't make them care. And also, people do not pay attention to movie theaters like they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not even comparable. So we have a catastrophic situation at the multiplex. And you should worry about that if you like going to the movies. Okay? This is not hyperbole. Again, we'll discuss it tonight on Tron ARES going down with only $33.5 million. Number 2 film this weekend is Roofman. And not a whole lot to say about that other than it's at the lowest end of projections. I really like this film. We'll talk about the MMT evaluation of this film coming up tonight on the Sunday Evening Spectacular here at MMT. And I highly recommend the film. In fact, it's almost faith-based. It isn't, but it has such a good, pure heart to it that I could see, and there are religious elements in it. So Paramount, I don't know why they didn't kind of lean into that a little bit, because, Hollywood's afraid of doing that. But I think that would have been a wise course of action. $8 million, and the per theater location about 2,400. I mean, it's not 1,000, which is really bad, but it's not great, right? 2,400 per theater is not strong. Now, last night, Burbank, it was pretty busy. Well, guess what? Burbank was the number 1 location for Roofman. See, this is the thing. I go to the number 1 theater in the entire country. So for me, it looks a lot different than it would be for you in Indy, in Tulsa, Dallas, Jacksonville, Insert City. There's no one there. Well, very few. And that's what's going to happen next. Okay, guys? Between Tron, Roofman, and what we've been talking about for weeks, I called this forever ago. We are so far ahead of everybody else. It's not even a game, right? Everybody else is playing catch up, and they'll never get there. I said this was really looking bad many, many, many months ago now. And I am going to continue to blame Adam Aaron for never reinstalling Windows, a guy that get paid tens of millions of dollars per year, the stock options, and he can't get it done. He is limp. We need a fully erect CEO. And instead, we have a milquetoast, limp. Listen, it's the morning. I don't want to say bad words. I'm going to stop. I know there could be some kids watching. Sunday morning church time for some of you. But listen, it's not looking great out there. One battle after another. Let's go to that email from Warner Brothers, break you down and tell you what's going on there. 15 million international this weekend, domestic 6.7. That's only down 39%, stateside 32% overseas. The cum on this is 138. Now, before anyone says, oh, look, the budget was 130, it's going to be a profitable film. Let's make this very clear. You guys, you have to understand this, that just because the budget is 130 and the final, well, not final, but, we're in a few weeks now, 138 million. That doesn't mean it's 8 million in profits. You need to make 2.5x, which is production, to make money. That means this film has to be about 325 globally. 325? That means we're almost 200 million off that. Warner Brothers is going to lose money on this film. Okay? I mean, it's performing a little bit better than I think some people expected, but it's still going to end up being a net money cash loss for WB because we're so far under what the profitability number has to be. And we knew that would happen. This film had no chance of ever getting to 300 plus million. That's why you have to ask, why did you budget this film so high? Why did it come in at 130 million-ish dollars? It's crazy. So that's another problem that we have. And, you look at the whole situation, right? And this is why I call your attention to this and how troubling everything that we're talking about here this morning is, again, is that these studios cannot continue to make movies that lose them money. Okay? And then you have the trickle down, obviously, to the theaters that cannot exist without you going to the movies. So they start to close. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. You're going to lose your local theater. It's going to go. And you're going to have to drive further away to whatever the biggest theater in your city or your town. If you're a town, you might not even have a movie theater. In a city, you're going to have to drive 20 minutes, half hour to get there. That 10-minute, 15-minute down the street, for me, it's like less than 10. Burbank's not going anywhere. It's the number one location. I am exempt from this. I'm safe. The rest of you are not. You will be losing your Regal, your Cinemark, and I would venture to say AMC locations, especially the underperforming ones. They're just going to close some of those and draw and force you into the other locations, right? So here in LA, let's say they wanted to close one, you'd close down Northridge and you'd send people to Burbank. It's like 30 minutes or more drive, but they don't care because why would you want to keep a location open that's half to 1/4 full and you're losing money on the electricity and the staffing, all that stuff? You drive them to one location. That's where it's headed. It's coming soon, man. Wake up. Don't be like, oh, you're being negative, Weber. I'm being accurate. I'm sorry I deal in truths, and some of you deal in delusion. Delusion is not something that I choose to partake in. Gabby's Dollhouse, number 4. Number 5 was Soul on Fire with $3 million. That is a faith-based film from Sony, and that wasn't a huge opening either. Some of those faith-based films were doing $10 million or more opening weekend. You look at Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom would never make the money that it made a few years ago. That's how far it's eroded. It wouldn't. And the reason Sound of Freedom and a lot of those films post-COVID shutdown went higher, people were excited to go back to the movies. We were told if we go to the movies, everyone you know will die. And they'll die. And their people will die. And the whole world will die if you go to the movies. Remember the propaganda? And yes, it was propa-fucking-ganda. Don't play games with me. Don't ever come in here to my channel, to what I do, and spin some shit that isn't accurate. You all, not all of you, but a lot of you fell for propaganda. And I want you to wake up. Because what I'm telling you here this morning is not propaganda. Movies are going down. I don't deal with that. I deal with truths. Truths. Kiss the Spider Woman. You guys ready for this? $1 million. That's like $700 per location. Jennifer Lopez's career continues to fall into the abyss further. Remember earlier this week, they had the premiere for Kiss the Spider-Woman in New York, and you could tell they were pressing. They were desperate. Hey, Ben, can you show up and introduce the premiere so we can get some headlines about you back with Jennifer Lopez? Obviously, it was a PR play. She probably begged him, please come. Nobody cares about Kiss the Spider-Woman. I mean, it didn't matter, right? Look, $1 million? I don't think we even have the full number here. We don't have the final number, but it's definitely under $1 million, if it even got to $1 million. And it was on a fairly wide base, so it's why $700 per location. Again, movies are dying. I mean, Kiss the Spider-Woman is always dead, but that's another sign here this morning. Sorry, can't be positive. What do you want me to do, man? Go watch some shill if you want to get that information. Go watch somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, who's not educated, who's not plugged in. Go watch them. I'm not even the anti-woke channel. You need to remember that. I am the objective reality channel. End of story. Top 10, Tron ARES, bombing at $33.5 million against that $180 million budget. Only $27 million overseas. Good Lord. This is bad. And every time this happens, the studio's like, hey, we will do better in the second weekend. We can hold on. Well, Smashing Machine didn't. We'll get to that in a minute. That film, man, that's not a good film. Doesn't help these films are not great. Roofman is very good. I like Roofman. Go support that film. Hopefully that sticks around. We're not going to get movies like Roofman. We're not going to get movies like Smashing Machine. I don't want to see another one. A24 is hurting. These smaller films just aren't cutting it anymore. No one's going to see them in movies. They're waiting for streaming. People are just lazy. They don't have the money. All that stuff. Okay? Roofman number 2, 8 million. One Battle After number 3. 4, Gabby's Dollhouse. 5, Soul on Fire. 6, Conjuring Last Rites. Well over 400 million worldwide. That was a huge success. And that is the aberration, right? These are the outliers. And the rest of these films just are hurting. Demon Slayer, over 600 million. Number 5 film globally here already. That is a massive success for Sony. Biggest anime hit of all time. That's an aberration. Okay. Smashing Machine down 69% this weekend. Yikes. Right? I remember A24 last week. We think this film can... No, it can't. It's dead. Plus, let's get this straight. I'll talk about this tonight. If anyone thinks about putting The Rock in over Channing Tatum for Best Actor in any race, you don't know what you're doing. You have no clue. You should just dismiss yourself from the group, whatever you're voting for, because you do not know how it's done. Channing Tatum destroys The Rock in a performance head-to-head. No contest. Stranger Chapter 2, shockingly, has made $13.4 million. That's a very low-budgeted film, bad film. Woo, man. You want to see bad films, watch Strangers, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and there is going to be a Chapter 3. I will have to suffer through it. But remember, Strangers Chapter 2 features that wild boar attack. When we need to fill time, let's just have our final girl have to defeat a wild boar. As the boar attacks the car she's hiding out in. Wow, what a film. What a film. Good boy. Held in nicely. Minus 36. That's the horror film from the POV of the pooch. That's number 10. And then, like I said, Kiss the Spider Woman is not even in the top 10. Yikes, guys. Sorry, man. It's just a really, really bad time at the multiplex. Interesting you mentioned this. I don't have If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You Down the Street. I do have After the Hunt. I'm probably going to see it. I've heard it's not great, but I want to see another film for tonight because I've got Roofman, I've got Urchin, which I like. I like both those films. And then I probably will see After the Hunt today because why not? Small films. Amazon's been pushing this. Luca directed it, but I'm hearing the reviews are bad. But we'll find out. Because here's the deal, man. The deal is this, is no one's more objective. So if I say it's bad, guess what? Get out and just literally etch it into stone. It is awful. Because that is how the MMT gavel of truth is dropped. Steve, thank you. And yes, I appreciate that. Super chat this morning. Thank you for that. Listen, at the end of the day, what we do here, Steve, you're rolling in big. I appreciate this, man. And again, go back to Tron, and I know it's exactly what you're talking about here. When you talk about Tron, you're talking about a film that is worth seeing in 3D IMAX. Listen, go back to my evaluation. Both times we talked about the reaction and the evaluation. I said this is not a great film, but from an experience, audiovisual experience, it's worth seeing. You're going to be underwhelmed by the story. No big deal. Just live with it. I know it's not exactly what you want, but it's still better than a lot of the stuff I've sat through because most films don't have anything redeeming. Smashing Machine, great example. A film that has nothing redeeming for it. Not one thing. There's not one positive aspect of that film. I don't want to hear about Emily Blunt. I don't want to hear about The Rock. I don't want to hear about direction. I don't want to talk about the foam door that they rip in half. I don't want to talk about any of that. Smash Machine wasn't even worthy of a movie. The guy is so dull that they were portraying. Why did they make the movie? So it doesn't help these films are bad. But yes, Black Phone 2 is next weekend. Let's hope that does well. We'll talk about what's ahead tonight, in addition to, yes, the troubling signs that are here again here this weekend. I don't like saying these things. It is what it is, man. I cannot control the truth. The truth is whatever reveals itself to be accurate. And what's accurate right now is that multiplexes are hurting. Movies are hurting. People don't have the money to go to the movies. The movies aren't good. Name something else. There's a billion factors, and we're seeing it all play out, all converge here. And we'll talk about it tonight on the Sunday Evening Spectacular, along with Roofman, After the Hunt, and Urchin. Very small film. I liked. We'll discuss all that tonight on the Super Sunday Evening Spectacular. Peace out. Enjoy your Sunday. See you then. Bye.